Welcome to Reddit Reader. People of Reddit, what's an interesting, creepy topic to look into? The Nazino Affair, aka Cannibal Island. Back in the 30s, some bigwigs in the USSR wanted to do what amounted to a collectivization experiment on an unsettled island. So they rounded up 6,000, mostly randomly snatched up city folk, and dumped them on an undeveloped island with almost no food or supplies or shelter, with guards stationed around the island ordered to shoot anyone who tried to leave. Within 3 months, roughly two-thirds of the island's population was dead, with many of the survivors resorting to eating the dead, and in some stories butchering still living people. Eventually, the experiment was deemed a failure, and they removed the survivors off the island, and records about the experiment got buried until the 1980s. They were trying to escape. They asked us, "Where's the railway?" We'd never seen a railway. They asked, "Where's Moscow? Leningrad?" They were asking the wrong people. We've never heard of those places. We're Ostiaks. People were running away starving. They were given a handful of flour. They mixed it with water and drank it, and then they immediately got diarrhea. The things we saw. People were dying everywhere. They were killing each other. On the island, there was a guard named Kostya Venikov, a young fellow. He fell in love with a girl who had been sent there and courting her. He protected her. One day, he had to be away for a while, and he told one of his comrades, "Take care of her." But with all the people there, the comrade couldn't do much, really. People caught the girl, tied her to a poplar tree, cut off her breasts, her muscles, everything they could eat. Everything. Everything. They were hungry. They had to eat. When Kostya came back, she was still alive. He tried to save her, but she had lost too much blood. A Redditor when she was young and her mom were out camping and there were men in a truck nearby. Later that night, she was awoken by her mom in the tent who was sitting up and motioning for her to be quiet. They could hear the men approaching the tent. The mom had a bit of a quick thinking and said, "Tommy, grab the gun," aloud, even though it was just the girl and her mom. The men ended up leaving after hearing that. I can't imagine the horrors they avoided that night. There was another one about a trucker who stopped off at a motel one night, and despite the weird vibes he got from the clerk and the overall condition of the place, decided to retire for the night. When at 2:30 or so there were noises from two men breaking into the room. The trucker leaps out of bed into the bathroom and hides in the shower, praying they don't walk in as they rummage through. When they leave, he books it running to his truck and off to the next place. When asked about the crummy place, he was told that it shut down years earlier. I was in a hotel room when I read that. Real or not, I couldn't sleep that night for sure. The wife of the leader of the Church of Scientology has not been seen for over 10 years. The higher-ups of the organization claim she is dedicating all her time to the church, but the fact that ever since she got in a big fight with her husband 10 years ago, none of her family members have seen or contacted her indicates foul play. The Bloody Benders of Labatt, Kansas. A family of serial killers operating in the mid to late 1800s murdered travelers at their roadside inn. The Tunguska event. Not really creepy in a traditional sense, but if you imagine that back then they had no idea what had occurred and went on to discover 770 square miles of forest completely flattened with no explicable explanation, I'd be having a couple of nightmares certainly. Imagine if it happened over a city. It was by sheer dumb luck that it fell into nothingness. What if in an era where, yes, there was already science, but fear of the unknown and of the divine was still strong, out of nowhere a fiery ball of fire appeared out of the skies to annihilate Moscow, Berlin, or Paris? It would have been the biggest event in humankind, second to none. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and subscribe so you don't miss our next upload.